now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about William Saliba. What a phenomenal showing at Old Trafford. Just what we've come to expect, really, isn't it? Let's be honest, we're talking about the best centre-back in the world. That is what we're going to look at in today's show. We are going to discuss William Saliba. We're going to look at his key actions against United. We're going to look at what made this guy so great. But first off, let's just dive into one of the most beautiful moments of defending we will see for a long time. Just have a look at this tackle. Just appreciate it. Just look at the magnificence of it. Everything about it was absolutely perfect. So when you look at it, what makes this so perfect, and we're just going to keep this rolling, is whenever Garnacho's running at Saliba, what do we see? Is eyes on the ball. He waits for his moment. You can see from this, Garnacho has the ball under control. When Saliba dives in is the minute Garnacho has a slightly loose touch. And even at that, the touch isn't that loose. It's not as tight as every other touch, but it is just a bit looser. And that's what makes top centre-backs, is timing with tackling. And Saliba here nails that. He is so perfect, so clean in his action. Look, you watch the foot come out, bang. No chance of giving away a penalty. Garnacho knows he's lost it because that slight millisecond of miscontrol, Saliba's in and he's got him. And that's what makes this guy so good. It's yet another game where we're seeing William Saliba get a Man of the Match award, and yet another match where he has just absolutely stolen the show. And we look at his record on different grounds, and he is sensational. We are talking genuinely about one of the best centre-backs in the world. In my opinion, the best centre-back right now. The only other player that compares to him is Virgil van Dijk. And when you look at Saliba, he's 10 years younger than Van Dijk. What he's doing at his age is not normal. I've grown up watching a lot of great Arsenal defenders. I've watched Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Sol Campbell, Kolo Touré. You could even argue that Laurent Koscielny could be in amongst that group, but it's a tough one. Look, I'm telling you now, William Saliba is as good as the very best and possibly the best defender I've seen in an Arsenal shirt. When you look at what he can do in terms of his positioning, his tackling, his aerial ability, which is improving every week, and his passing, his on the ball and his reading of the game, he is the most complete defender I've ever seen. Sol Campbell, phenomenal against the wall defender, but he couldn't pass. Sol Campbell was a player that was so limited on the ball. Tony Adams was one of the most complete players I've ever seen, but I did catch him at the end of his career. However, William Saliba is the one that I look at and think you have absolutely everything in your game. And when you look at it, this is a guy that's played 37 games this season. He's played every minute of Arsenal's season, 18 clean sheets, and it's no surprise that he has been involved in every minute. We have that record, but it is important to note the players around him. Gabriel has been phenomenal, and these two have created a partnership that is just unbreakable. It is so difficult to defend against. And look, United could have played for a month of Sundays yesterday, and they would not have scored. We didn't play well at Old Trafford. Saliba was phenomenal, but we just restricted United. They didn't actually create anything. They had 2 shots on target. One of them was a Casemiro effort from 37 yards out. And when you look at Saliba, this wasn't a one-off. He got man of the match at Anfield, man of the match at Etihad, and now man of the match at Old Trafford. This is a guy that just keeps delivering on the biggest stages, and time after time, he steps up for Arsenal. And he's someone that makes it look so easy. He's so graceful. People talk about him on the ball, but it's his positioning. That's what makes people great on the ball. That's what makes goalkeepers great. David Raya is so good with the ball at his feet because he can position himself and his receivers position themselves. So this is the thing that people often overlook, is where do you start? What is your instinct when you go to receive the ball? What is your instinct when you're defending? What is your initial position on the field? If you get those things right, the job becomes much easier. And we see William Saliba do it time and time again. He positions himself in the right areas, and then you've got a 6'4" bulldozer who's lightning quick and graceful across the pitch. He's not losing many duels because he's got himself positioned in the best possible area to start himself off. But when you look at these games, the reason he's won man of the match in all of these games, most duels won, most possession won, most successful passes, most successful tackles, most touches against City. Again, we look at it against United. Most touches, 98 touches against United. Insane. Most tackles, most interceptions, most clearances, and most duels won. He won 7 of 7 duels at Old Trafford, which is a phenomenal shift and just sums up how good he is. But again, I come back to that point. It's about where you position yourself on the pitch. You position yourself in the right starting area. It makes these duels much, much easier to win because you've already set yourself for success. If you find yourself a yard off, the striker already has the advantage over you. Any attacker already has that half a yard on you, and that gives them time to think about what they want to do. If you are in the right position to begin with, it becomes very, very difficult for that attacker because they're already thinking about what they're going to do when the defender is covering the ground and is already the favorite to win the duel. And when we look at William Saliba's positioning, he's very, very dominant in that right centre-back role. We see him coming out. He does step forward. We know he carries. He moves towards into the opposition half. But yesterday, this was a more defensive performance for him. We normally see him sitting around the halfway line. Whenever we're playing our best possession-based football, he's inside the opposition half. He's controlling the game from centre-back. He's a real, almost a metronome in a centre midfield area. But when you look at it, 76 passes completed of a possible 84, a 90% completion rate, insane. And again, 4 ground duels won, 3 aerial duels won, and his 98, 99 touches. Just a phenomenal record that this guy has. And we see it every week. And that's the thing that's the reason I put him amongst the best. It's not because he has these games won off. He does this every week. And whenever he's not on it 100%, look, Saliba making the odd mistake is still better than 99.9% of other centre-backs on the planet. But whenever he dips slightly, Gabriel steps up. And he's also got Ben White beside him, who's the picture of consistency. Behind them, David Raya is a player that is so good with his feet, so good at claiming from crosses, and now has a great understanding with these two. And just like Saliba, Ben White and Raya bring a real calmness that has really calmed Gabriel down this year and allowed him to really channel that energy and anger and enthusiasm that he has and that demand to win. And Saliba on the pitch makes Arsenal a better team. And this is why people laughed at us last year when we said Saliba's injury cost us the title. Look at the run-in this year. Look at the impact William Saliba has had on Arsenal. And then question, who was wrong last year? Was it the people who laughed at us for saying this guy is so important? Or was it us being deluded? The reality is our form took a nosedive the minute Saliba got injured. This year, he has stepped up another level. We are so lucky to have this guy, and we've got him for another 5 years. That contract being signed was absolutely massive. But let's look at some of his key actions yesterday. So this one, early in the game, this is so simple, and we think nothing of these things. It just becomes an expectancy for defenders to deal with these. But if you look at it, the ball comes through. It's a nice ball through the middle from Casemiro. You can see Højlund gets himself in between Gabriel and Saliba. For once, Gabriel's not quite sure where Højlund is. You can see him. Gabriel's following the ball, but Højlund ends up getting in between the two of them. Gabriel loses this a bit. He loses sight of it. William Saliba, no problem, mate. I've got your back. Straight in, outside of the right boot, takes it, controls it. And the thing you don't see here, because I don't have enough screen space and you guys don't want to watch endless screen grabs, Saliba, when he gets the ball, he says, calm, calm. And he's running and he tells everyone to calm down. He plays a straight pass and he gives it. He gets Arsenal out of danger and he sweeps on and he plays with ease. The gracefulness of this player is just remarkable. It's something that you just don't see. He is just truly elite. And these things we watch them every week and think nothing of them. Look, we watch Per Mertesacker, who was a fantastic defender for Arsenal. He wouldn't have the pace to get into this position. He could have read it, and Mertesacker was better on the ball than he often got credit for. But again, I come back to that starting position. Do you set yourself up for success? William Saliba, time after time after time, sets himself up for success. If you look at the run where he's starting, you can see where he's looking. He's running backwards, but his eyes are on the ball. He doesn't break focus. He knows exactly where Højlund is. He knows where the ball is, and he knows what he has to do to win it cleanly without giving away a free kick. We see that, again, these are 3 situations in the game that all could have led to something. First one, Saliba deals with this very, very early. So Garnacho comes across the box. There's a sea of Arsenal defenders, and Saliba thinks, no, I am not letting him get that ball into the box. There's a couple of United players in there towards the back post. You've got Højlund in the middle. Saliba straight out, block, get rid of it, out of the area. Second one, middle of the park. Saliba steps in, wins the ball. Declan Rice ends up cleaning it up. And these are instances where it allows Arsenal to get the turnover. And in a game like this that was scrappy, where we weren't at our best, where we were struggling to control it, this is what you need. You need that physical presence, that reader of the game, that duel winner who's going to step up and win you it. And then in the final one, again, this is Garnacho going down the line. Ben White had a tough game. Ben White was dribbled past multiple times yesterday, which isn't something that we see. However, it is important to remember Ben White has struggled at Old Trafford against Rashford. There could be something in the ground that Ben White was maybe playing the occasion, playing the ground, playing the badge, as opposed to playing the opponent in front of him. Because we know he's better than Garnacho, and we know he can deal with wingers like that. But yesterday he did struggle, as did Saka, as did many other players on the pitch. Saliba, again, we see this, the bottom right, Garnacho's going down the line. On numerous occasions, he got around Ben White. No chance. William Saliba, I'm dealing with this. You're not getting past me. I'm a brick wall here. And he deals with it. Then this sequence of play, this is so simple, but this is all about starting positions. How do you position yourself for success? Look at the first one. Saka has the ball. His man's touch tight to him. Nowhere for him to go. The only option is he plays a square pass into Thomas Partey, who also has Scott McTominay running at him. And we know Scott McTominay is a big physical player that likes to leave his marker on a player. But no, Saka straight back to Saliba, because Saliba's dropped a yard, giving him the option. Saka passes it. You see the second graphic, top right. Saliba gets into Odegaard. Odegaard plays it straight back to Ben White. What Saliba does here, and again, this comes back to, do you position yourself for success? Do you take the pressure off your teammates? Do you put yourself in the position that allows the game to open up, where you can take the ball comfortably without others around you? And look at Saliba in the third graphic. When Ben White gets the ball, Saliba actually drops back 2 or 3 yards and positions himself slightly more to the right. It gives Ben White the option. It takes all the pressure off him. It means the angle is much more favorable for Ben White to pass the ball. If Saliba stayed where he was, the United player can get closer to him, close down that angle, close down that space, and it makes it a more difficult pass. It also means that when Saliba receives the ball, he's got more players around him. But what Saliba does just buys him and Ben White that extra yard, that extra second that's all important in football, because time and space wins games. And then the final graphic, what I love about this, it's just so effortless. We talk about Thomas Partey playing the verticals that we all love. In this graphic, Saliba just gets the ball straight through the middle of the park, and he does it with ease. He takes 2 United players, 3 United players completely out of the game. You can see the 2 that are, I'd say, half pressing, and then Scott McTominay, who's running back across towards the middle of the park. It just takes everyone out with ease. And it's that passing ability, along with the ability to read and set himself up, that really sets this guy apart from other players. But finally, just to wrap up, I thought this from Squawka was absolutely perfect. If you look at it, 100% duels won, 100% aerial duels won, most touches, most passes completed, most clearances, most tackles, and he didn't commit a foul or get dribbled past once. So with that in mind, that's where we're going to leave the analysis of William Saliba. I think this is another game that proves just how good this guy is, just how truly elite this guy is. And with Arsenal's record this season, this is a guy that's played every minute for us. And we've kept the most clean sheets, 18 clean sheets in 37 games, a phenomenal record. William Saliba now has a 75% win rate in the Premier League, which is an astounding stat, and one that it's a long time since I've seen a player have those kind of numbers that hasn't played for Man City. This is a guy that has elevated Arsenal and has been one of the best signings we've made in a long time. And look, my final point on this, tell me a better centre-back than William Saliba right now. I'm not saying this with my Arsenal hat on. I'm genuinely saying this as someone who watches a lot of football, who does a lot of deep diving, a lot of analysis, and I challenge anyone to find a better centre-back in world football than William Saliba. Look, if you've enjoyed this show, please drop us a like. Please tell us what you think in the comments. Is there a better centre-back than William Saliba out there? If so, tell us who it is. But thank you for joining. Have a great day.